Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. So we're continuing with the series Understanding Fractions, and this is the second part. So if you missed the first part, I have attached the link in the description of this video below. So do well to check that out and then get a hang of it before you come back to this one. So if you're ready, let's dive into this one. So today we want to continue with the series, and we want to recognize and identify simple equivalent fractions at the very simplest level. Okay, of course there will be more series on equivalent fractions later, but then this is the least simplest version that you could actually understand, that anybody can actually understand. What are equivalent fractions? Well, two or more fractions that have the same value are called equivalent fractions. For example, 1/2 is equivalent to 2/4. This is because 2 is divisible by 2 and 4 is also divisible by 2. Remember, you must look for a number when you're dividing fractions that can go both into the numerator and denominator without a remainder. So if we use 2, we could divide both 2 and we'll get 1, and we could divide 4 and we'll get 2. So 2/4 is still the same thing as 1/2. Can you think about other ones that could be equivalent to 1/2? Maybe 3/6. Yeah, it could continue and on and on. So today we're going to be using fraction wall to understand equivalent fractions. So look at this fraction wall. Study this fraction wall. Of course, it can be longer than this. You could go on and on. You could get the 1/32. You could move on and on and on. But let's stop here at 1/16. So you have the whole. This is the whole, and it takes the whole shape. So you notice that the shape is the same. The spaces occupied here is the same. And this is your one whole, and these 2/2 make one whole. So 2/2 will make one whole, and then 2/4 will make 1/2. So it takes, 4 of this to make one whole, and then 2/8 will make 1/4. Okay, and 2/16 will make 1/8. So this is how fraction wall can actually help you with understanding equivalent fractions. Now from the fraction wall, you could go back to it, make reference to it again. You could pause the video and go back to it. Now we could observe some of the following. Like I've already said, there are 2/2 in a whole. 1/2 is smaller than a whole, and there are 4/4 in a whole. 1/4 is smaller than 1/2. Yeah, there are 8/8 in a whole. 1/8 is smaller than 1/4, and there are 16/16 in a whole. 1/16 is smaller than 1/8. So now check this out. Look at this fraction wall. I've broken this down to 1/8. So if you check this, you will see that 1/2 has the same value as 2/4. So 1/2, 2/4. Yeah. So 1/2 equals 2/4. What else can you observe? 1/2 has the same value as 4/8 too. Look at 1/2, 4/8. Okay. 1/2, 4/8. 1, 2, 3, 4 equals this. 1, 2 equals this. So these are called equivalent fractions. So 1/2 and 2/4 are equivalent fractions. 1/2 and 4/8 are equivalent fractions. And there are many more equivalent fractions you can get. Pause the video and use the fraction walls on the previous slides to find the missing equivalent fractions of the following. So we have 2/4, 3/4, 2/8, 3/8, 1/4. Okay, so welcome back. Did you get all of this? So can you try to find out other equivalent fractions on your own? Yeah, try. And of course, in the next lesson, we're going to continue in this series. So see you in the next lesson. Bye.